views expressed and the opinions given by the individual hosts and their guests do not necessarily express those of KCNR Radio and its sponsors. All shows are independently owned and broadcast for entertainment purposes only. Readers and listeners are advised that neither KCNR Radio nor its owners and agents shall be held liable for the content of this program.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, Sovereign Minds!
Morning!
Hey!
How was that, Travis?
Boy,
That was a good one.
man, so I can tell Terry's been sitting here. Whoa! Turn down the sound.
Yeah.
Turn down for what?
It's like, do not pump up the volume.
Oh, come on. Can you?
Wow.
Didn't you ever watch The Simpsons?
That was
like,
probably.
You know what I mean?
I was playing that with the kids yesterday. Only I had a saw.
So what
A seesaw or just a
No,
saw?
it was one of those little saws you prune with that you flip out like a switchblade.
Oh, yeah.
It's like.
See, I'm
I had an electric one of those.
Grandpa's
I'm colorblind, so I don't know which one. So tell me when I get the right one.
Not yet. That's, no, that's
Well,
not
those
it.
colors don't bleed. So
Try the orange one there on the
This
end.
one?
No, the other one. That
This
one.
one.
Yeah, try that one. Go down with that. Well, it's not orange, but she's colorblind. Remember?
Hey, that's okay.
Go back up. Go back up. Yeah, right there. That's perfect.
What do I know? I'm full of smoke and mirrors.
I'm going, wow, there's lots of orange on
It's
there.
the Celtic.
Okay.
It's the Celtic.
Hey,
Wow,
hey.
today is Sunday, May 8th, 2022. My name is Mark Kent, and I'm here as your host of the Sovereign Mind Radio. I'm here in the studio with my sister Linda, who does all the heavy lifting.
She's cut out
Wow,
for it.
that's
Yes,
it?
yes.
That's all I get this morning. I got it.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Throw intellectual heavy lifting? Does that help?
All I got to say is zip it.
I can kick you underneath the table, you know?
I believe you.
Happy Mother's Day.
You know, one of the weakest parts is your shins. Did you know that? Let me show you.
Yeah.
I think they call this jovial banter, but I'm not really sure.
Awkward moments? What?
A pregnant pause. No, never mind.
There's an emoji for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Please.
We're gonna get into Eon
Whoa,
Leon.
dude. Back off.
All right, so we also have the kid that rocks around the clock, Cyber Dave Johnson.
Hey.
Hey.
Woo, woo, woo.
Yay!
the dog.
Sunday morning attorney Shon Northam.
Hello. Good morning. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
There we have it.
Save my shins.
We're gonna do a little holdover here from the last show with Terry
Stop
and Wynn,
the tape.
and try to finish out Stop the Tape.
Yes.
We almost forgot.
Yes.
And
Because I forgot. Okay.
The brains behind the outfit right now. Exactly.
And the guardian of the magic button of silence, the librarian, the bumper, the time bandit, the breaks, key weaponry board specialist, producer extraordinary, Travis.
wow.
Yeah, I got the full one.
You got the full.
I think they call that the full Monty.
No, we don't.
Well,
Yeah, let's go past.
We can't do that on this show.
Well, it depends on what music we're playing.
Well, I think I'm going to exit stage left right now.
I'm not dead yet. What? It's a flesh wound.
Come back, you coward.
I love that movie. That's one of my favorites.
I don't have enough
the
coffee.
horse. Yeah, I wish I had a horse clopper thing.
So, I know we don't have time for a story, but I actually did that in a jury trial.
Really?
So
you did what in a jury trial?
Yes. Point of clarification, Linda. I had a robbery case, short story, and the suspect was described like 185 pounds. My client got arrested 3 months later. He was like 300 pounds. So I hired a weight loss expert to come and say, "There's no way." And my guy's DNA was on these zip ties, but his tools have been stolen, so there's a bunch of DNA on there. So I hired a weight loss expert to come and say, "There's no way physically that somebody could go from 185 pounds to 300 pounds." So it was a visiting judge, and And the prosecutor, who's I won't mention his name, but I super love the guy. He's not with his office anymore. I'm going to say his name. Bill Bateman. He's a public defender. I super love Bill. He's done a great job over there at the PD's office, getting a great staff, training those lawyers. They're kicking some booty. So I said, hey, Bill, I'm going to play the Monty Python clip. It's a question of weight ratios, right? Because a half-pound bird cannot carry a 1 pound coconut. It's unless it's an African swallow. So yeah, exactly. So Bill's like, well, I'm going to object, and I'm like, Bill, it's Monty Python. You can't object that, right? There you go. So this visiting judge says, well, counsel, I want to see the clip, and I'm like, all right. So I play the clip. I'm dying laughing because I have a big thing for Monty Python. Bill is straight-faced. The judge is straight-faced. And he says, well, counsel, I'm going to sustain the objection. He goes, it'd be no different than if you hired the whole troupe and they came up and acted it out. And I thought, wow. Huh.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
So my investigator, Amy Kreitzer, who is just a badass, she's awesome, says, I bet you $20 you don't do it. And I'm like, oh, game on. So I can't really do it, but I did it. I made the most.
The coconuts.
Yeah. I'm like, it's a question of weight ratios. A half-pound swallow cannot carry 1 pound coconut. And I did that for probably 15 to 30 seconds in the English, fake English accent, and the jury ended up hanging. So it wasn't that bad at work, but yeah, no, I did a.
Wow.
On you, but yeah, the whole thing.
Yeah. Wow.
And, I got the $20, and then I walked outside the courthouse, and there was a nomad. And
if you're defending me, does it cost me extra for you to do that in the courtroom?
No. I will include that with the price of the retainer agreement.
Okay,
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the next time you do that, let me know. Okay. Because I'll be outside the courthouse going, bring out your dad.
I'm not dead yet.
I'm just a little sick. Leave me alone.
Oh my God, dude, that's the best movie ever, man.
All right, let's get back to work here.
Oh my God.
Oh, why?
Wow. Okay, so where were we?
Stop the tape, I think.
Stop the tape.
I don't know which tape we were on.
That's one of the voices in my head. There we got
I
think this was Stephanie Bridget.
Well, I know, but which one?
Travis knows.
Yeah, there's about maybe 3 minutes left on it.
Okay.
All right, let's just go ahead and let's just pick it up there, and then have Shon say when he wants to stop the tape and talk, and we'll give we've got 2 minutes left on our 15.
Story of my life, man. I'm on the clock.
Go.
Enough evidence was there. We're still going to fight for them. We're going to fight for them. So I just think that all of this conversation about that is deflecting from the true mission and purpose of the DA's office. I'm proud of all the...
So all the conversation about trial stats and Brady violations is deflecting from the true mission of the DA's office?
What is that?
Last time I checked, it's to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. Oh. And last time I checked, the Constitution of the United States of America means that the government has an affirmative obligation to turn over all favorable evidence. And Stephanie Bridges' office is not doing that. So I love how she's talking about all these conversations deflecting from the true purpose. Stephanie's conversations are deflecting from the true underside, the belly of her office, which is super unethical and wasting thousands of dollars of taxpayer money.
This kind of goes to the rule of law, and I had somebody was calling me, and they're, oh, you're not for the rule of law. And I was like, really? So what's your definition? You know,
right?
What's your definition? That everybody does what the government tells them? I'm pretty sure that's his definition of the rule of law. That's how crazy these guys are?
Right? Though, no, it's true. Right?
The rule of law is where both sides have to follow the law equally, and both sides follow the law called the Constitution.
Correct. And we all take the same oath, whether you're a prosecutor, defense lawyer. The military law enforcement has a little different because I think they talk about
UCMJ Military Code of Justice. Yes, I'm quite familiar with that.
Right, you are. But it's uphold the Constitution of California and the United States, so it's not rocket science.
Right.
And what's funny is if people get into the psychology of Stephanie Bridget and actually pull back the curtain and look at the smoke and mirrors, if you just watch what she's saying. And you look at what she's saying, she's doing exactly what she's telling people not to do.
Right.
Deflecting.
Projection.
Right? It's a bob and weave.
Yeah.
Look over here, don't look over here. Oh, these people are doing that. That's what you're doing.
It's so leftist. I mean, that's what we're seeing across the board in so many different areas in the country right now. It's like, oh, the Ministry of Truth, we're here to protect you from the disinformation that you're spreading, because if you don't like what we have to say and have a different opinion, you are somehow a criminal.
Well, that's the problem. As long as the finger's not being pointed at them, or they're not being questioned or brought to the carpet, so to speak, and their actions.
But they do it with everything.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton, he's in bed with Russia.
Right.
Wow. Only I kind of am.
Well, and you know, I sort of talked about this on the last show where, you know, she's talking about all this stuff, right? And I don't really study politics and whatever. And so there's certain political ideologies and political groups who have traditionally been pro-big government, pro-this and pro-that. And I'm watching Stephanie talk on her campaign trail about, I've done this program, I've got this program going over here, I'm doing this program over there. And I'm sitting back going, because I like to be a critical thinker, I like to ask questions, right? Pull the curtain back. And I go, you know, you're talking about all these programs you're doing, all this social media stuff you're doing, you're getting all these likes, all these TikTok, Instagram stuff, but you're not doing the one job you're supposed to do, is protect the public and be fiscally responsible taxpayer dollars. You're not doing that. But she doesn't want the folks to look at that, right? She wants to deflect the conversation to look at these great social programs. We got 50 genes. We collected 50 genes for somebody.
Does anybody know what she claims to be? Is she claiming she's a Republican or a Democrat? Because what I've seen over at the Republican Central Committee debate, if you want to call it that, which it really wasn't, it was a forum and it was kind of fixed, is that she was more worried about defending BLM rights than she was about defending everyone's rights. I mean, it's like they're getting the special treatment.
Correct. I don't know her political. I don't know.
I'm just curious if anybody does know.
But it is.
She said, because there's a ton of people in town that say that they're Republicans, and I'm like, really?
Right. Well, aren't you, I mean, if you're a Republican, don't you traditionally want limited government and fiscally responsible? Isn't that sort of like the bastion of Republican ideology?
Oh, boy, you got it all wrong,
You're all screwed up,
Oh,
dude.
man, all right. I know I'm screwed up. Where do you want to start, Linda? Do we have another 15 minutes?
All right, we better go back to play the tape.
Sorry,
Let's play the tape. Keep going. Oh, Travis, are you there? Hello?
Team that work very hard, and they get amazing results.
No,
How important are plea deals?
Plea deals are extremely important. We, quite frankly,
Okay, let's talk about this. So Stephanie's talking about plea deals, right? The reason so many cases go to trial and the reason they get their ass kicked so hard is that they don't know how to plea bargain. They can't analyze the value of a case. So, for example, I've got a client who has a gun in a car. He's a convicted felon from 16 years ago, right? So, even if we go to trial and lose, he's probably not going to prison. I would bet a lot of money in my career on the fact that he's going to get probation. But the DA wants prison. So why is that case going to trial? Because the DA wants prison.
Right.
The DA should have come back and said, look, if he can plead to a felon in possession of a gun, we realize his felony is like 16 years ago, so that's an issue, right? But I would resolve that case if they said, plead to a felony, 180 days, whatever, we're good. We're not going to go to trial. I have some good evidence at trial that my client may win because he didn't know the gun was in the car, right? Somebody left it in the car or truck, whatever it was. But that sort of is a microcosm of the macrocosm of the problem with the DA's office is that they don't have the legal acumen to understand the value of a case. So why are all these cases going to trial? Because they don't know how to plea bargain and make an appropriate offer. So what happens is because they don't know how to plea bargain and assess the value of a case, they're driving cases to trial and then they're losing at trial.
Because they don't have enough evidence to support
Right, because it should never go to trial.
Right,
Correct.
yeah.
Right, but then maybe somebody's telling them to move forward with the cases at that point?
Okay, so that's a great question. So let's talk about the City of Shasta Lake homicide case that happened last year. So my client, and this is all public so I can talk about it. It was an open proceeding. So my client accidentally shot and killed his best friend. So the DA's office had all the reports that I had. And I had said, let's resolve this for an involuntary manslaughter because it was an accident, right? So the prosecutor in the case went directly to Stephanie Bridget. Stephanie Bridget said, no, it's a second-degree murder case. And I'm like, it's not a murder case, man. It was a horrible freaking tragedy, right?
It might be manslaughter or something.
Well, involuntary manslaughter.
Right.
And that's what I offered to resolve the case was involuntary manslaughter. Stephanie Bridget said no. Guess what happened at trial?
got thrown out because she didn't have enough evidence.
So the murder charge was thrown out, and my client is the verbiage is different in juvenile, but my client basically pled to an involuntary manslaughter with a gun.
Wow.
So again, you have the DA going, I want murder, and I'm going, dude, it's not a murder case. And it happens all the time where you're like, you're not going to get this at trial, and they're either through their ego, hubris, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it.
One of the things you're supposed to base trial prep on and going to trial is the hazards of litigation, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Where you have to say, hey, do we have a good case to win?
Right. And I think the myopia is so thick over there that they get, I think it's called trial psychosis, where I've taken some really horrible cases at trial, and I have moments at trial where I'm like, I'm feeling good.
You're a defense attorney, though.
Yes.
That's different.
And then you sort of lose, you're like, man, and then your colleagues are like, yeah, dude, you have trial psychosis. There's no way you're winning that case, right? But they have trial psychosis over there where they just read it, it's on paper, and all of a sudden it gets committed like, this is actual fact, and they can't read, an assault that happens at 4 o'clock in the morning between a bunch of people. Okay, problems, right? This is problems, right? And they're just like, nope, we read this one version, this guy got assaulted by this guy, never mind these other statements, we're going to trial, we want prison.
I have a question.
Well, I was going to say, but most of the time when you take cases or they're bringing cases to court, they go for the higher offense because they are going to plead down.
That's it. Okay, let me ask my question because it's exactly to that. Okay. Do you ever plead up in a case? For example, our CEO over here at the county pled to a felony embezzlement, and it said, so do you plead up or do you plead down?
So this office has actually recently started a culture where they're what I would call extorting pleas. So it's stacking charges that they can't prove, adding charges that they can't prove in an effort to coerce a plea. And so the case of Wayne Williamson, the 87-year-old guy down in Conwood, who some thugs are destroying his car, so he pulls out his shotgun. It's rural Conwood. He's scared. He's got his elderly wife there, right? Fires off a round into a tree from birdshot. At the preliminary, gets charged with felony assault because one of the kids said, oh, no, he pointed the gun at me.
That is crap.
Oh, dude, it gets worse, Mark. Child endangerment, gets charged with child endangerment. It goes to preliminary hearing. The officer testifies, Mr. Williamson did everything right. Fired the gun in the appropriate direction.
Was he on his own property?
He was.
Wow.
Steffi prosecuted. She says she's 2A. She's not 2A.
Wow.
She's not pro-Second Amendment. It's total BS.
See, if you're on somebody else's property, maybe you got... Maybe. But then when you're on your own property defending your own... I mean, isn't the Castle Doctrine still valid?
We have that here. And so the felony charges get dismissed because one of the kids testifies, no, he never pointed the gun at us. Okay, so the assault deadly weapon goes away. The judge still, instead of dismissing child endangerment, the judge holds him the answer. It goes to misdemeanor land. And in misdemeanor land, the deputy says, if he doesn't plead to ADW as a misdemeanor, we're going to add more charges. So what does Mr. Williamson do? He then pleads to a misdemeanor gun charge.
That's crap.
That's called extorting. It's just dirty. Like, that's so dirty.
Well, that should have been dropped right off because the guy...
100%.
Absolutely, he didn't really want to hurt anybody.
Correct.
He was still trying to defend his property.
And his wife.
And so what are you supposed to do? Just let them just do whatever they want? Throw your gun aside?
And where's the charges for the people that's doing this?
They were throwing rocks at his car, kind of destroying his car that was on his property or the border of his property. But he felt in fear for his safety. He felt concerned about his wife. Says, hey, we're not having this stuff. And then they sort of went to approach him, and he racks around in a safe area, in a safe direction. There's no houses by him. And then not only does he get filed, he gets prosecuted, then they extort a plea out of him. How can Steffi Bridget tell the voters with a straight face, I'm pro-Second Amendment, when that guy's defending himself and his wife, and she forces a plea out of him?
Yeah.
Wow.
We should continue to take, because we're going to run out of time here.
About earlier. Yeah. We need 5 more attorneys. We also need 5 more judges. We need more defense attorneys. We need more police officers. The whole system needs more. Last year, we had over 10,000 cases referred to my office for prosecution, or right around 10,000. I
okay,
the number right in front of me.
Pause it, please. So a couple things on this, and I'll try to wrap it up real quick.
Yeah, because we've got about 5 minutes.
Okay, so if you have lawyers who don't do their job, if you have lawyers who aren't trained properly in the Constitution and Brady, getting more lawyers isn't going to stop the sieve, the problem that is your office, the toxicity that is your office, right?
You're only going to multiply it out?
Right, and I will tell you this, based on my 12 years up here and being in that courthouse almost every day, the problem in that courthouse is the Shasta County District Attorney's Office, how they do business, how they turn over discovery, how they don't turn over reports, how their lawyers can't analyze a case and assess it for proper value. They're the problem.
So it seems to me that no matter what she said, you need more police. Well, that's fine. You get more police. And, okay, we need more judges, and that's fine. You get more judges.
Right.
But if the district attorney is not going to handle the cases properly, that pretty much negates those two other offices, doesn't it?
100%. Because what are we doing then? You're just creating more problems. And it doesn't matter how many people you have. If you have a staff of 100 that's incompetent in your corporation, you're not going to get results.
Well, let's take an example of, let's say you're BLM and you go around burning, offices and downtown shops and everything, and nobody ever gets prosecuted. You can have all the police and fire that you want,
100%.
and you can have all the judges that you need, but if the prosecutors will not prosecute a case properly, then they're just going to keep burning stuff, right?
100%. And when all this stuff sort of happened, now, I don't watch the media. I'm sort of on a media.
Well, I'm just coming from the point of view of a white extremist.
No, you're 100% correct, Mark. Here's why. Did Stephanie ever come out and make a public statement? You know, she's got all the social media, TikTok stuff, Instagram, saying, "Hey, if you come here to do this to our county, I'm going to slam you. I'm going to devote all my resources in my office to crush you guys and prosecute you." It's a cliche. I don't like it, but to the fullest extent of the law, right? Like Judge Fred, right? I don't think she ever did that, right? So did she ever come out and go, "Hey, as the chief law enforcement officer, I'm drawing the line right here. You guys aren't welcome in my county."
Well, this goes to equal protection. This goes to equal.
She didn't, right?
Yeah, no.
Right.
No, nor would she, because then that puts her on the spot.
There we
and
go.
has to be accountable
Exactly.
for what she does.
Right.
It also goes to equal protection under the law and cherry-picking the people that you want to punish against the people that you don't. Kind of like the Zapata case thing, too. You know, it should have never went to trial. Carlos spent a lot of money defending himself. The other guy was not culpable for anything, didn't get charged. We don't know even if his gun was registered, because in the article it said it appeared to be registered by
I guess that's when she exercised her 2A opinion.
Right, there we go. Yeah. I'm pro Second Amendment, so if you're doing stuff, and we're just going to look the other way, 2 minutes. But yeah, and I don't know all the facts of the Zapata case, but what I can say and what I do know is that expending 3 lawyers where you have a supervisor who sits in court every day with 2 misdemeanor lawyers over some 415 disturbing the peace is such a waste of resources.
Right.
It really speaks to
we need to clean the town up.
The motives.
Yeah,
the motives underlying that prosecution.
Right.
Nefarious.
Yeah. Well, if you got political motives,
there you go.
Then and it's pretty obvious that is the case, because they spent a lot of money, going after something that should have just been dropped, and maybe a slap on the wrist for maybe both of them, even.
Yeah. No, that case should never been filed. One, if it got filed for whatever reason, it should have been disposed of. That case should never saw the courtroom. But again, it gets back to the legal acumen, and then there's something else driving that case to trial, right? Some other purpose other than quote unquote justice.
Yeah, but
there was no justice there.
Yeah, usually cases, though, you have the evidence and it makes the case, not the case make the evidence.
Correct, 100%.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Oh.
Okay, I guess we have a caller, Ron. Ron on the phone,
Good
and
morning,
hurry up,
Ron.
Ron. We're going to run out of time here. We got a minute to the break.
Okay. I understand the state legislature has passed laws that are in conflict with the state and the U.S. Constitution, and Chris Ann Hall one time said something about if those laws are in conflict, that the sheriff or the district attorney really doesn't have to abide by them. And I've tried to ask the district attorney a couple times, about 3 times on the radio, and she refuses to answer me. And she said, "I can't give you counsel." And I said, "I don't want counsel. I just want you to explain the Constitution." And she refused to do it. And it's like you can't even defend yourself on your own property if you use a weapon.
It's a complete conflict in logical thinking. You got one thing saying, "Hey, you have the right to keep and bear arms and defend yourself," and on the other side they say, "Well, that's not really true because we have another law here in the state that says you don't."
Right. Well,
if I like you or not.
And quite honestly, yeah, she could say, "Look, here's the deal. I'm not prosecuting these types of cases."
Right.
So law enforcement, if you want to go arrest somebody, understand, you refer that case to my office, I'm not going to prosecute them.
It's discretionary.
Right.
I guess we got to go to a break.
Are we good?
I think we're good, Sean.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you guys so much.
All right. We'll have you back, and maybe we can finish off the last minute of that phone.
I would love that. We can drink some Irish whiskey.
We're in.
Day drinking.
We're in.
Yes, day drinking.
And with that,
just
we'll
call it
go to a
drinking.
break.
Hey, thank you guys so much.
All right, see you later,
You
Sean.
bet.